of Dakota land, where the skies are wide and the freedom stands. With a Bible in my hand and a prayer in my heart, living this life where the wild plays its part. Dust on my boots and my hat pulled low, got my trusty rifle and I'm ready to go. Hunting the game as the sun hits the sky, in the heart of the 701 I feel so alive. Guns and the 701, that's how we roll. Faith in the good Lord, that's how we hold the line of the legacy that runs through our veins. In this wild, wild land where the spirit remains, we're living free, living bold side by side, with God on our plate and our hearts open wide. Ranching the fields, the cattle run free, with a purpose so strong, it's our grand legacy. The rivers run deep as we cast out our lines, fishing the waters where the North Star shines. Got the warmth of the sun with the chill of the night, with every shot fired we're ready to fight for the freedom we cherish. The second is true, with family beside us we stand through and through. Guns in the 701, that's how we roll. Faith in the good Lord, that's how we hold the line of the legacy that runs through our veins. In this wild, wild land where the spirit remains, we're living free, living bold side by side, with God on our plate and our hearts open wide. In a world that's spinning with sins that they wield, we stick to our values, our fate is revealed. With the word as our guide, we tread on the earth, a community built from the love, not the curse. Raising our voices, singing loud through the night, for God and our freedom, we'll continue the fight. Let the rifles ring out, let the spirits align. In North Dakota's embrace, our souls intertwine. So when you hear the gunshots and feel that proud sound, know it's faith and freedom that echoes around. From the fields of the ranch to the depths of the lake, with God on our side, there's nothing at stake. Guns and the 71 forever will stand in the heart of our faith in this great free land.
Well, good evening and welcome to Guns in the 701. No, Clay did not grow a beard and change his Midwestern accent for a Southern one, but he's got a little breakdown tonight and asked me to fill in, so I am here and excited to be here. I don't get to be on midweek show too much between all the things I got going on. I'm not used to this setup, and I'm not used to Clay's setup, so y'all have to bear with me. I apologize in advance. We're going to start out with a little word of prayer, then we're going to get into the Second Amendment, and then we're going to get into some good subjects tonight. Hope everyone's doing well out there. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for this time together, and Lord, we just ask that you bless this time of fellowship. Lord, here on the internet. And Lord, we just pray that you guide our wisdom. And Lord, we lift up our soldiers, our entire military, Lord, overseas and home, and just pray for their safety and blessings over them, Lord. And Lord, we lift up our representatives in DC and pray for godly wisdom throughout our representation. And Lord, we just love you. We praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. And I want to start out the night, of course, with the Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, I ask you, how hard is it to understand shall not be infringed? I mean, it seems pretty simple to me. And that's what we're going to get into tonight. So y'all chime in. Let me turn on some comments here. I want to hear from y'all. Hello. JD, good to see you, buddy. Brian. Got it, buddy. Just got your text. I'm a rookie at this, and I'm being coached. We are going to get into the Second Amendment tonight, and I can already see I got some good conversationalists on here when it comes to the Second Amendment. And we know there's a lot going on right now up there in South Dakota. I had to pull up some notes and stuff and some articles I got together here. I'm going to find my old man glasses. If you follow the Second Amendment and everything that's going on, especially you guys up in the Dakotas, I'm sure you're aware of what South Dakota just did and why it's so relevant and important. Let me read what I found here, because if I elaborate, I don't have the. If y'all know Clay, you know that Joker can read something and it's there. That ain't me. I can read something and say, "Hey, that's pretty cool," and then I got to have it in front of me. I don't have that picture brain that Clay has. The big news is that South Dakota has become the first state to remove firearm suppressors from its state-controlled weapon classification. In February 2026, Governor Larry Roden signed Senate Bill 2 into law. The law took effect on July 1st, 2026. Suppressors are no longer considered controlled weapons. Imagine that. An attachment on a gun is not a weapon. To me, it's pretty simple. It's like saying a scope is not considered a weapon. It's an attachment to a gun. It's an accessory to the gun, which is exactly what a suppressor is. It's an accessory to the gun. Hello. From Williston. I'm assuming that's North Dakota and not Florida. Eliminating state-level restrictions that had mirrored federal requirements under South Dakota law. Now, we're going to get into why that's important and pretty relevant. Does that mean anyone could buy one? No, it doesn't. Not exactly. Federal law still applies. At the federal level, suppressors are still regulated under the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives and the National Firearms Act, NFA. South Dakota's law simply removes the state's additional regulation. As of now, purchasers must still comply with federal requirements. Why did South Dakota do this? Supporters said that the law recognizes suppressors primarily as hearing protection rather than criminal tools. Now, you know that to be true. If you're a shooter, which I'm sure most of the people that watch this show are, you get out there and shoot a 308, or which one of my least favorite guns to shoot is a 357 revolver. Those things, I don't know why. I've owned numerous ones. I think I still got a couple in there. They're just ridiculously loud. Now I'm not going to go out and get a suppressor for my revolver 357, but 308s, you know how loud some of these guns can be, and some I've got an AR in there, and I'm not even sure why it's so loud. It's just a 223, but that thing is absurd loud. Now, I have had the opportunity to put a suppressor on some of them, and the difference is amazing. I mean, I don't need earmuffs at the range, don't need earmuffs out shooting if you got suppressors on there because it's already done. Now, the misconception for years, thanks to Hollywood, is that they're silencers, that they silence the gun and you can, shoot somebody in a hotel room and the guy next door don't hear nothing. That is absolutely Hollywood. That's not a fact. If you've got suppressors, they muffle the noise. They do not silence the noise. There is still noise. Now, I've got the 22 suppressors. Some of those can be pretty darn silent. I've got one. It sounds like you pretty much just hear the action of the gun and just a slight pop. So they're very, very practical for hearing safety. And to me, that's what they are. Plus, if you're out coyote hunting, it doesn't scare the other ones off from too far away. There's a lot of benefits to them. And like anything else, the government just wants to regulate and try to get us down that slippery slope to regulate this until we're shooting flintlocks at each other. While the people around the country are watching, this isn't just South Dakota. Many Second Amendment advocates see it as a test case for broader suppressor deregulation. If Congress eventually removes suppressors from the NFA, South Dakota's laws are already aligned with that change, and other states with similar statutes may follow suit. So if the feds eventually deregulate suppressors, then South Dakota and any other states that follow suit is already in line. So South Dakota residents have a heads up and have a little benefit. Come on, y'all. Chime in. Talk to me now. JD, I know you got some opinions on all this. Since January 1st, 2026, the federal $200 NFA tax stamp fee for suppressors was reduced to $0. However, suppressors are still regulated under the NFA. Buyers must still complete the federal paperwork, undergo a required background check, and receive approval before taking possession. That's true. I've heard that same thing, Larry, that I never have had one on a revolver, but I have seen some of those YouTube guys mess with them, and they really didn't because of the cylinders. They do still make quite a bit of noise. They do quiet them up some, but they make more noise than rifles and semi-auto pistols. Quite a bit more noise. So that was a good point. South Dakota removed suppressors from its own state-controlled weapons laws that no longer imposes its own additional restrictions. Residents still have to follow federal law until Congress changes, and we all hope that'll be soon. The federal proposal, the bill receiving the most attention, is the Constitutional Hearing Protection Act, sometimes discussed alongside earlier versions of the Hearing Protection Act. If Congress passes it, suppressors would no longer be regulated under the NFA. Instead, purchasing one would generally work much like buying a standard rifle or shotgun from a dealer. I do not agree with any of that. It is, like I said, a suppressor. It's an accessory to a gun. They say, well, they suppress the noise and it helps in situations like murder. Well, you know what? I've got a 308 right here, 270 over there. They have scopes on them. I think one's a Vortex, one's a Loophole. Good scopes. If I took them off, I could not shoot anywhere near as far as I can with them scopes on there with the accessory. So it feels like to me, and I will say it, and Clay and I have discussed it for years. It's just one thing after the other. Over 22,000 laws have been passed since the Second Amendment was written. Over 22,000 gun laws on an amendment that clearly says shall not be infringed. So the Democrats, all the liberals seem to think one more law, one more law, one more law, and we're not going to have any murder. We're not going to have any crime. It's all going to go away as soon as we add one more law. I don't get it. Absolutely, JD. I think some things are headed in the right direction. People are getting fed up with our rights being taken away from us. Those of us that enjoy our guns and appreciate our rights and have forever have been seeing it for years and fed up with it for years. But now I'm seeing a bunch of people that have been on the fence for years, and even some people that were on the left coming over to the right saying, "Oh, this ain't how it's supposed to be. I'm getting sick and tired of this." Clay has said it for years. The government loves to take our rights away from us and then sell them back to us. Hunting, fishing, there's just so many different things, the fees and licenses to buy our rights back. I know they don't deal with it up there in the Dakotas because I lived up there and I built what I wanted to on my property. But, down in the more populated areas, heck, you can buy a piece of property. My home here is a good example. My wife and I have a home, no mortgage, bought and paid for. We pay property taxes every year. We pay what we have to, but we don't have a mortgage. This house is absolutely paid for. But if I want to go build a garage or build a big old pole barn or something, I got to go to the city and get permission on our own property. That's ridiculous. That's the government stealing away from you, stealing your rights. And I think when I go to build that garage, I'm just going to go to them and tell them they need to pay for it. It's your property. You pay for it. If it wasn't your property, I wouldn't be paying you for it to keep from taking it. Got some more things I looked up here that it's actually quite a bit going on out there. So I understand why JD's saying he sees more coming down the pipe and some good things. This article started out, I like this. The Second Amendment is only 27 words long. Well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Those 27 words have fueled debates for more than 200 years. That is a fact. The major questions today aren't whether the amendment exists. They're about what it protects and how far governments can regulate firearms while remaining consistent with the Constitution. Many of the biggest legal battles today focus on where that line should be. Here's my thing. There shouldn't be a line. There should not be a line. I should be able to own whatever firearms I want, and it ain't none of the government's business or anybody else's business. There's no line. Period. Very good point. There's no noise ordinances that require a muffler on a vehicle, which I can buy over the counter. But the one for my firearms requires paperwork. True. Very true. But that's just so the government. It's more tracing. And I have a lot of friends and people, even my own wife, is very. I don't want to say conspiracy theorist because every time we say that, they come true. They're not conspiracies no more. They're facts. How these devices we have, like the phone I have in front of me, the computer over there, and the iPad over there, and all these gadgets, how they record us. Now, what really gets me is People saying we can't let the government know, we can't register this, we can't do that, we can't do that. They already know everything they ever need to know about you. As long as we have all these gadgets and we're living on grid and have bills coming to our mailbox, they know everything about us. We have driver's licenses, social security cards, cars registered to us. They know everything about us. And it come down to me to the point where I say, I don't care what they know about me. I don't care if they know how many guns I have and how much ammo I have or where I live or anything else. Because when it comes down to it and they want to come try and take stuff, I'm just your average Joe. I don't like that term anymore. I think you know why. I'm just your average guy, but I am ready, willing, and able to protect my home from a tyrannical government coming to try to take my guns. Will they win? Probably. I will be out-armed and outmanned, but I will go down fighting. Could you imagine? And I've got some friends, I won't name drop, but I've got some friends that are a whole lot more well-equipped and trained than I am. And there's a lot of guys out there that are just chomping at the bit and waiting. I don't want it to happen, but if it ever does, it's just going to have to be what it is. Jake breaks on a truck. That's right. Nobody's off grid anymore. You can't hide. You can't hide from them. Absolutely can't do it. With the radars and stuff they have now. And man, here's something funny. We talk about these gadgets listening to us. I recently was blessed to get a job that I have been trying to get for over a year now. Out of the blue, got an email, job offer at a company I really wanted to work for. You fishing folks will understand. I went to work for Humminbird, Minn Kota. I work for the company that builds Humminbird fish finders and Minn Kota trolling motors, Old Town canoes, jet boil, little ovens. I went to work for the company that builds all that stuff as a line supervisor. And right after I got the email offering me the job, I watch YouTube all the time, which I'm sure a lot of us do. Almost every ad in between the YouTube channels is Humminbird fish finders or Minn Kota trolling motors. I'm not sure I've ever seen a commercial for Humminbird fish finders or Minn Kota trolling motors, but now it's all I see. And I didn't research. I didn't go on there, setting an algorithm or anything. But now it's all that pops up after I got that email offering me the job. It's a really cool job too. Awesome place. Nobody is off grid. Courts nowadays are deciding more than Congress. For decades, many gun laws were enacted by Congress and state legislators, with courts reviewing them afterwards. Recently, federal courts have taken a much larger role in deciding which firearm regulations are constitutional. I do believe the phones listen to us. You are absolutely right. As my son and I were sitting in the living room talking one day, and my phone was on the coffee table. Oh, I think it was fishing poles. I'd mentioned something about a pin fishing rod or a reel, and didn't think nothing of it. I think I went on the back porch and was cooking some steaks or something. I come back in after we ate dinner and stuff and grabbed my phone, and I had 2 emails from, and I don't even subscribe to any pin fishing pages or anything. Well, I do now, but at the time I didn't, and I kept getting these ads, emails and ads on my Facebook for pin fishing gear. So I absolutely, and that's not the first time that happened. Me and that same son a couple years ago were talking about something else, some camping gear, I think. No, it was actually a specific sportsman's guide, a shopping page for sportsmen. We were discussing it, some deals I saw on there. And while we were discussing it, I got a text message from that company while we were talking about it. That was a little creepy. Good evening. this time of year, I'm going to get off subject here just because I want to. And Clay let me have the microphone tonight, so I can. What's everybody doing getting ready for hunting season? It is July. Most people say it's hot. How can you thinking about hunting? Because I think about hunting all year. Now, don't get me wrong. I think about a lot of fishing during the spring and summertime. But I think about hunting nonstop. And I know up there in the Dakotas, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think August starts up bow season for antelope. I think it is August. Seems like it. That seems like it was that when I was living up there. Is August when we started with archery, antelope, and then September I think is when rifle opened, and then October rifle for antelope, and then October is when pheasant started up. If I remember right, I see Corey on here. I'm sure he could tell me about South Dakota. I am struggling, to be honest with you, as far as hunting goes down here. I have not found a good spot in Alabama to hunt yet. I'll hunt a little bit. My stepson's got a place. He's got his own lease, his own property. He don't have any members on there with him. So I will go hunt with him a little bit this year, but I haven't found a place real close by that I can get any good hunting done. Clay says, of course, not a clue. It's because you spend most of your time sticking fish instead of sticking antelope, Corey, and that's just fine. About 15 years ago, a friend of mine and I were having a conversation about our dogs. My phone was off because the battery died. He got a voicemail from my phone. That was our conversation. That's weird, man. Sprayed our corn food plots last week. Bring on those deer. Man, I want to get up there. I'm coming up there in September. I'll be up there for a few days in September to perform a wedding. I am still ordained. I've been out of ministry for years, but I am still ordained, and pretty honored to be able to go up and do this wedding for this young man and young lady and get to visit some of the guys while I'm up there. But like I said, I'm having a hard time with hunting down here because I just don't have the spots. Down here in the South, we're not land plentiful like you guys are out in the West and up north and some of the places with the big farms and big open properties. Down here, a lot of folks get into clubs. They'll lease 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500 acres or whatever they can get a bunch of members together to help pay for that, and then they hunt it together and form a hunting club. And around here, man, you got to know somebody. It is hard to get into them. I hunted a little bit last year for a company I worked for. I was able to hunt on their property. Did not even get anything off of it. I don't think I didn't even shoot a deer last year. That's probably the second time in 17, 18 years that I haven't shot a deer. But if nothing else, I will get a hog on the ground. My stepson's always complaining he's got too many hogs, so I'll go up there and shoot some hogs and then get the itch too bad. And I never mind shooting some hogs. Never mind shooting me some hogs. And I like to get down to Chris's, if y'all know Chris. I know Corey does. I like to get down there and spend a little time with Chris. I ain't seen him in a while. And shoot some of them hogs. He's got some birds out there, too. But I would love to. Something I really want to do is come up there and pheasant hunt. I have not pheasant hunted since I left the Dakotas in 2016, I think. Was it, Corey? You're the one that moved me. It was 16 or 17. I don't remember, but it's been a long time. I haven't hunted. No, I'm wrong. I went back a couple years later, stayed with Clay, and shot some grouse and pheasant at Clay's place. Cooked it up at the guest house over there. But it's probably been 7 or 8 years, which sucks because I love pheasant. And one of my favorite things to hunt. Corey just responds a while. That means his memories are about as good as mine. It's been a minute. Assault weapons ban. Something else going on. One of the most debated topics is state restrictions on certain semi-automatic rifles, often referred to as, I don't even like saying the term, assault weapons. Y'all listen. See this here? It's a fishing reel. If I smack somebody in the head with it, I assaulted them. So is this an assault fishing reel? Assault is an action. It's not a weapon. The assault makes it a weapon. Sounds good, Corey. I need to get up there, man. I need to come see you guys, and I need to shoot some birds. Often referred to as a weapons ban, assault weapons. Supporters of these bans argue they can reduce the availability of firearms they believe are especially dangerous. Opponents argue that these rifles are among the most commonly owned firearms in the country and therefore fall under constitutional protections recognized in recent court decisions. All firearms fall under the Second Amendment. All firearms fall under the Second Amendment. Period. Just because they're black and look scary does not mean anything. Matter of fact, I don't know the rules on here. Exactly. But I could pull out an AR and a rifle, a hunting rifle, put them side by side, and they have the exact same actions, both semi-automatics. But this one looks like a wooden stock, or actually owns a synthetic stock. Synthetic stock scope just looks like your common everyday hunting rifle you'd have strapped over you, headed to the tree stand or headed out on a spot and stalk. Exact same, operates the exact same way as the scary black one. You know, I've often told people, compare it this way. You take a bone stock 1968 Camaro. Some of those came with 6-cylinders in them. 1968, most of them came with 6-cylinders in them. Set it out on the street. Looks like a bone stock 1968 Camaro. But you can take the engine out of that thing and put a blown engine in it and just leave it looking the exact same way. Now, take another 68 Camaro, cut the rear end, tub it out, put some 33-inch Mickey Thompsons on it, put a 454 blown board 60 over with a B&M blower 671, and just make that thing just bad to the core with a giant scoop, lower down in the front, just flare on the back, the whole kit and caboodle. You could have that same engine and the stock looking one, so they both operate the same way. I think y'all get the comparison. Yeah, I hate the word assault weapon. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I mean, even if you look up the word assault, it's an action. It's a verb. So I can't stand that. And I recently saw, some of y'all that keep up with the news a lot more than I do might have seen it, but there was a retired military. I don't remember what branch he was, but he was giving testimony before Congress or something and talking about how much more dangerous the AR-15 is than the actual military weapons. I mean, he was pouring it on thick about how dangerous these weapons of war are. And he had his retired military branch hat and everything on. I mean, he was pouring it on. So the only thing I could think is this was and don't get me wrong, I don't downplay anybody's position in the military. Every position is important and has its role in defending our country and our freedoms. But this guy was obviously in some position where he did not deal with guns. He did not have to train with weapons and understand firearms and ballistics and all that stuff. He didn't have to, because if he's saying, one, that he used an AR-15 in the military, no, you didn't. No, you did not. And that they're more dangerous and make bigger holes than the guns that they're using in the military, you're wrong. You couldn't be more wrong. So either you have absolutely no knowledge of these firearms, or you're blatantly lying. Which, he was a Democrat, so just saying. It's an assault phone. Constitutional carry. More states now allow constitutional carry, meaning many law-abiding adults can carry a concealed handgun without first obtaining a permit. Here in Alabama, we have constitutional carry. I do need to go renew my permit. The only reason I care to have a permit is crossing state lines, and when you buy a gun, you don't have to go through the waiting period and all that stuff if you have your permit. So that's really the only reason I care to have one. I had one for 5 years in Georgia. When I moved here, it was still good, and I had reciprocity in Alabama anyway. So was we in July? So last July, it expired, and I just have not gone and got one because we are constitutional state, and I carry my gun because I have the constitutional right to, not because some stupid government tells me I can or can't. Supporters view this as restoring a constitutional right. Opponents argue permits and training requirements can promote public safety. Even in constitutional carry states, laws still vary regarding prohibited locations, age requirements, and reciprocity with other states. Responsible gun owners should always know the laws where they live and travel. I agree with that. We need to know the laws where we live and travel. Whether we agree with them or not is a whole nother story, because there's so many laws out there I absolutely do not agree with. Now, I've had people tell me that I was an anarchist and all this kind of stuff because of my stance on a lot of things, and that's just not true. I believe we do have to have government. We do have to have law enforcement. Do we have to have such a large government and such large law enforcement? Not even close. Not even close. I believe, and I did not too long ago on my own show on Sportsman's Watch Outdoors, I talked about government overreach, specifically in the area of game wardens, and because they have more, they get more leniency on what they can and cannot do. I mean, they can literally just stop you, check you, get out of the truck, I'm going to search your truck and all that kind of stuff. They can literally do that. They can literally just drive onto your property. It's government overreach, and we don't need that. That is completely stomping all over our rights. And it's wrong on every single level. My property, unless you know I'm breaking a law and you're coming here to arrest me, stay off my property. And out of my truck. You're going to find a bunch of fishing poles, probably a couple guns, but they're legal, I think. Yeah, those are legal. Anybody got any hunting trips planned this year? I'm really, really trying to. I've been wanting to do this for years, and I'm getting closer to pulling the trigger on it. Yes, pun intended, of going to Texas and doing I really want to do a ram hunt, like a black Hawaiian, and a black buck and an axis. And I got some friends out there in Texas, and I also made some hookups in Tennessee where there's an exotic ranch up there. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, they're canned hunts and fenced hunts and all that stuff. Yes, they are. I don't care. They taste good, they look cool, and they're fun to hunt. And the ranches I'd be hunting on, they're thousands of acres anyway. One of them 7,800 acres. So you still have to go hunt them. And I hunted on one. We took a veteran, an Air Force veteran, to one in Texas. Man, that's been a minute. 6 or 7 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago. We went out there and took a veteran on a axis deer hunt at one of those canned hunt places. And it was, I think, 6,000 acres. And man, it took some doing. It took some hunting to get him on an axis deer. Because, I mean, especially you guys up there in Dakotas that have these big farms, you understand 6,000 acres, it's a big old chunk. That's a big piece of land for critters to be running around on. That's miles and miles and square miles. So my goal is 2 things I really want to do. I've not been on a bear hunt. I really want to get on a bear hunt, and I really want to do the black buck, axis, and black Hawaiian. Those are some top of my bucket list right now. And another one, some of y'all that know me well and know my past are going to find this funny, but I really want to do an alligator hunt. Yes, I want to do an alligator hunt. And if you know me well, you know why. And I'm probably going to get a chance to do that. That's actually one of the easier ones for me to get on, because got people that I have the licenses and all that stuff to be able to take me out and all that. So that's one of the easier ones. Not the top of my bucket list, but I really do want to do one, because growing up in the Everglades, been around a lot of them. Taking my dad fishing this fall, laugh out loud, in Mexico next June. I hope I know where you're taking him this fall. I did. We do still have a trip planned. I did find another veteran to take that spot, but absolutely, your dad and you are both welcome to come down, and we'll go fishing anytime. I got guides that love taking veterans out, and we will absolutely still do that. Mexico, what are you doing in Mexico, Corey? So this is some good fishing down there too. Mexico, a lot of people don't even know what it is, but triggerfish. There's some huge triggerfish down in Mexico. I wouldn't mind going down there and fishing. Awesome. Going to fishing. I have not been to Mexico yet. I spent last week in Mexico Beach, Florida. There's a little small town in the Panhandle called Mexico Beach. And wife and I spent 5 days down there. Actually, we came home a day early because it was July 4th, and we were laying in the camper July 4th early afternoon and thought, do you know how crowded the roads are going to be tomorrow, the day after July 4th? So we just packed up and came home a day early. And sure enough, our town of Eufaula, Alabama, Highway 431 is kind of a thoroughfare to get down to Panama City Beach, which I refuse to go to because it's too crowded. So the next day I went to run into town for something, and it was just packed full of people. So I'm glad we left when we did and got our butts home. Being crowded with the camper behind me and sunburnt and ready to be home anyway, I would not have had much patience. Tuna, Dorado, and marlin. Man, I hope you get on a good marlin. I have not caught a marlin myself. I have been, when I was a kid, I had the opportunity to be on charter boats a lot and fish offshore a lot between Miami and Bimini in the Bahamas. And I was with people that hooked into some marlins. One of them was over 500 pounds. I really can't remember what it was. I want to say it was close to 600 pounds. And it took them almost 3 hours to reel that thing in. But it was just incredible to watch. I think I was like 15 years old for that one. And that was just incredible to watch. When those things just start jumping, man, it is amazing to watch. Seeing it online is cool, but watching them in person, it just gets your adrenaline pumping. And I've caught wahoo. I caught a 48 8-pound wahoo. And a wahoo, if you don't know, is the fastest fish in the water. And man, they can fight. That is a fighting fish. It took me 48 pounds. I think it was almost an hour it took me to reel that thing in. That was a blast. And a lot of mahi-mahi, a lot of dolphin. And I'm starting to miss the offshores. I did a little fishing down in Mexico Beach, surf fishing, which I'm really starting to enjoy. I mean, you really can't go wrong. You're sitting on a beach, rod in the water, stereos and drinks next to you. You can't go wrong. So I'm really enjoying the surf fishing. I'm gonna be doing a lot more than that. As soon as I get my boat done, I'm waiting on some parts to finish up the skiff now. I'm gonna take that down to Port St. Joe, Florida, and do some flats fishing for some tarpon and redfish. I have caught not a lot of tarpon, few tarpon when I was younger. Quite a bit of redfish though, and redfish is some of the best at eating, and tarpon is some of the funnest fish you can catch. So I'm looking forward to that. And then once I get this boat done, use it a little bit, of course I'm gonna sell it. Probably gonna look for a flats boat, some sort of flat skiff. I really like the Mako Pro skiff, and Mako. They changed their skiffs up at 18 feet. The Pro Skiff 18 is more of a V-hull flats boat. Drafts real shallow, so I really like that. Yeah, I'm nerding out on boats here. I like me some boats. I went from having 4 of them down to 1. That sucks. Troy just put up a show us a link, man. Show us a link. Another place I really, really want to go. I don't know. I used to make fun of guys that when they got older, they got more into fishing than hunting. Don't get me wrong, I still love to hunt, but as you know, fishing's a whole lot more accessible and can do it year round. So I've really gotten more into it, but I'll never stop hunting. I just love the meat too much and love the adrenaline rush. Oh, good. We got a spammer on here. I don't want to spam your chat, so let's chat on disc or whatever. I don't know what it is, but Las Tres Amigos. If y'all get down to where'd you say, Troy? Baja, Mexico. Look them up. But I'd really like to South Africa. South Africa is known for some big marlin. And Costa Rica. And something I'm going to do, Corey, I think you might have been with us when we went down with Don and went after some peacock bass. We didn't catch any that day. I grew up in South Florida. But when I was down there, I don't remember, there was no snakehead fish. There was no peacock bass. Well, none of that around. And now those peacock bass, they're supposed to be extremely fun to catch. They get bigger than black bass, largemouth bass. They're a beautiful fish. So I think I'm going to go down to my old stomping grounds in South Florida and spend a few days going after those snakehead. Those are supposed to actually be really good eating. And some peacock bass. So that's another fishing trip I really want to do. And we may be doing another hog hunt in March. Exactly. We saw them. We saw them when we were down there up close to shore, but we just could not hook into any of them. There was quite a few of us out there. And Don, the guy that took us, he'd caught tons of them. I mean, that was his thing down there. Don was a guy I grew up with. He's passed on now. But he'd caught a bunch of them, and his thing was fly fishing, and he used to catch them on fly rods. So he got us to them. We just couldn't catch them, which is par for the course for me, because if you watch any of my shows of where I've fished or anything, you know I'm not much of a fisherman. Yeah, I miss him too, man. Yeah, Don was a heck of a guy. Me and him went back to my teen years, and he was literally saved my life 2 times that I can think off the top of my head back in them wild and woolly days. I'll never forget the first time I took him. I don't know if Corey was there or not, but the first time I took him to camp at Chris's place, we're sitting around a campfire, and somebody was passing around a jug of moonshine. Passed it to me, and he jumped up and grabbed that moonshine. The hell are you doing? I don't remember who was passing it. I don't know if it was Buck or somebody. So just passing around the jug, man. I've seen what this guy does on moonshine. He don't get any. Don was a mess. Good guy. Do anything for you. Well, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up here tonight. Short show. Just trying to fill in for Clay. I know he would have brought a lot more valuable knowledge as far as the politics and the Second Amendment and legislation goes, because that's just Clay. I'm one of those guys that might have a heart for it, but the knowledge is not all that big. It's just, my thing has always just been, I see it as kind of the gospel of the return of Christ. I don't know when it's going to happen. I'm just going to be ready for it. I see the guns as the same way. We know something's going to happen. We don't know when, but we're just going to be ready for it. So guys, I appreciate y'all joining tonight. Y'all catch the rest of the shows throughout the week, and I'll be back on Sunday morning with the Sunday Sportsman's Bible Devotion and the top 10. Don't know what the top 10 will be this week. Always something different. Last week it was campgrounds, and I had my sweet wife with me on here. Thanks, buddy. Y'all have a good one. Appreciate y'all joining tonight. God bless and take care.